That's Nelson Mandela, after he became the first president of the Republic of South Africa in 1994. The rainbow nation at peace with itself and the world was his vision of a multicultural South Africa without apartheid.
So why did South Africa introduce apartheid in the first place?
Remember, 90% of the population were black or mixed race, and white people were afraid they would lose their power and their lands to the black majority. So, in 1948, the National Party created a system of apartheid.
So what does apartheid mean?
Apartheid means separation in Afrikaans. In South Africa, apartheid was the legally enforced separation of people into three groups: white, black and mixed race.
So how did apartheid work?
It affected every area of life. Black people could only own a certain amount of land and they had to live in certain areas. They had no representation in Parliament and had to carry identification wherever they went.
So, tell me about Nelson Mandela and the ANC.
The African National Congress was formed in 1912. It was a non-violent movement formed to get better rights for black people. In the 1950s, the ANC became more radical when younger men such as Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu and Oliver Tambo became leaders. In 1960, the government banned the ANC because it was too popular.
What happened next?
In 1961, Nelson Mandela was arrested and charged with sabotage and treason. At his trial, he said, "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities." In 1964, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for attempting to overthrow the government. He served 27 years in prison.
He has been such an inspiration to so many people and still is.
While Mandela was in prison, the most important event was the student riots in Soweto in 1976. The government had passed a law stating that Afrikaans was to be the only official language of education.
Why was that a problem?
It was a problem because Afrikaans was the language of their oppressors. It took enormous courage to take on the government, but on June the 16th, 1976, 20,000 black students marched through the streets in protest. The police reacted by shooting at them. These riots marked the beginning of the end of apartheid.
How did the rest of the world react?
Many countries introduced sanctions against South African goods, sports and entertainment, and by the time Nelson Mandela came out of prison in 1990, apartheid was already falling apart. In the country's first free and democratic elections, Mandela was voted the first black president of a free South Africa. Now the whole country is trying to build a new nation, a rainbow nation, based on justice and equality.